Hello YouTube, what's going on? It's Monday, it's time for the new trials of the week. If your goal is to hit Cantina Legend, you should be at least hotshot right now, so you can hit Cantina next week. The trials of this week are get hit by lightning, destroy arc enemies in the swamp, damage bastions, search supply drops, and the last one is damage comets. As always, we're going to talk about the trials, how to do them solo, how to do them in a group, and how to get your max score, what maps to do them on, and what items you need to bring or you should bring. Before we get into it, I would kindly ask you for a favor if you wouldn't mind. As always, I will share all the information that I have, no gatekeeping, no paywalls, no members only nonsense, nothing like that. The only thing I would kindly ask you as a favor in return is if you could like and subscribe the video and maybe share it with a friend or the group you're doing trials with. It would help me a lot with the YouTube algorithm. As always, I will be doing those trials solo on twitch.tv/VaniP. The link is down in the description below. That being said, let's get into the trials. The first trial this week is Get Hit by Lightning. We've had this trial a couple of weeks ago. You need to do this trial on Electromagnetic Storm. Me personally, since I'm playing it solo, I will do it on Dam, and I will show you in a second where and why. If you're doing this in a group, you can do it on whatever map you want. There is a little bit of a difference in the loadout if you're doing it solo and if you're doing this in a group, and we're going to talk about it in just 1 second. I'm doing this solo, so therefore I will do this on Dam, and there is a very specific reason for that. I'm going to do it on the testing annex, and I'm going to try and fish for this extract. The reason being is I will take a survivor augment with me, and sometimes the lightning stacks on top of each other, and if you get hit by 2 lightnings, you might die. Therefore, I'm going to run a survivor. If I'm going to get hit by 2 lightnings in a bad spot somehow and I go down, I can crawl down to the extract and just reset the trial. If you're doing this in a group, you might want to consider running a healing augment, because the healing augment, even though it sounds dumb, but the healing augment kind of helps you because you're gonna stand next to your teammates, and there is a possibility that you go down and you will get rezzed by your teammates. And the healing augment will help you with the passive healing, with your sterilized bandages and vita shots and stuff like that, to regenerate your health faster and therefore be able to stand the next lightning a little bit faster. So what you want to do in this trial, regardless whether you're playing it solo or in a group, is you want to stand in the middle of the lightning without a shield, because without a shield you'll take more damage and therefore you will get more points. You might encounter other people that are doing this trial as well. Just a reminder, the more people that are in a specific area, the higher is the chance that the lightning will come down in that specific area. Bring as many sterilized bandages, vita shots, and vita sprays as you can carry, or herbal bandages, and try to get your health up as quickly as possible. You want to use the bandage and then either the vita shot or the spray afterwards, so you can recover your health more quickly. The second trial of this week is destroy arc enemies in the swamp. Now, first we need to know what the swamp is. We had this trial a couple of weeks ago, and therefore I will show you in just 1 second where the swamp is. The general idea is of this trial, you get 400 points for each arc, no matter the size, no matter the type. That means you want snitch scanners, just because that's the best way to get a huge amount of arc in a small time. For the swamp, it depends a little bit whether you do it solo or in a group, right? As swamp, this is basically the general area that counts as the swamp. Don't go too close to the dam because it won't count. Stick in this general area. If you're doing this solo, you want to bring at least 2 wolf packs and fill your inventory with snitch scanners. I'd say probably 10 to 11 stacks at least. And then bring either a hole cracker or 2 Jupiters with ammo. If you're bringing 2 Jupiters, you want probably around 9 stacks of energy ammo. If you're bringing a hole cracker, I'd say probably at least 6 stacks of ammo. Me personally, I will run a survivor augment. You can do this trial either on night or on electromagnetic storm. I have a feeling that there is more arc on electromagnetic storm, but it's also a little bit riskier. So you gotta choose for yourself. You want the riskier part with more arc, or a little bit less points, but a little bit safer. far. If you're playing solo, I would probably position myself around this general area, because with a couple of zip lines you can traverse over here to pull arc, or you could even go to the hydroponic dome complex to kill the pops and the fireballs and whatever like crawls in there, right? You want to avoid stuff like Bastions, Rocketeers as good as you can, just because they will give you the same amount of points as a little Wasp that is a one-shot. There is no point in choosing a big long fight against a Bastion or a Rocketeer where you might die when you can just simply kill a Wasp or a Hornet or whatever. If you're doing this in a group, I would suggest you split up, probably something like this, so you can cover the entirety of the swamp. Each player should bring around 11 stacks of snitch scanners if you're going for a max score. If not, you can just farm the arc that is flying around. But if you want to go for max score, each player needs to bring around 11 stacks of snitch scanners. Hawkcrackers and Jupiters, just like mentioned in the solo player section. You might want to run cautious augments for this, just for more space, but Survivor for me is always the safer choice. Throw your snitches. Don't forget to kill the snitch as well, because the snitch itself is 400 points as well. The third trial of this week is Damage Bastions. This is a reoccurring trial. We've had this trial already a couple of times this season and last season. You want to do this trial on Dam Battlegrounds. This trial is a little bit easier in a group, because you don't have to time it that precise and to travel so much. But as always, we're going to go through the strategy for solos and for group plays. Me personally, I would do the solo run on Dam Night, because on Dam Night you have two fixed Bastion spawns. This one and this one. The other two, this one only spawns on Hurricane, and this one spawns, I think, only on day raids. So on night raids, you have those two. You want to set up a zipline coaster from the controlled access zone, like from the balcony up here, to the hydroponic dome complex, and maybe two over here to the pipeline tower. In an optimal scenario, you will spawn like in the northern part of the map, kill this bastion first, have this extract over here, and then just keep killing the Bastions over and over again. I think the max is 8 or 9 Bastions you can kill. You definitely, as a solo, you want this extract, because you can put up 3 ziplines over here. And what I'm going to do is probably bring a Jupiter with 5 stacks of ammo and 9 deadlines and 5 wolf packs. Just to kill the Bastions with the deadlines, shoot the legs till the Bastion is immobilized, put on a deadline, and the wolf packs maybe for some Rocketeers that might be interfering. If you're doing this in a group, the strategy is basically the same. The upside, obviously, in group play is that you can like res each other if one of you goes down, and you can split up and kill the Bastions a little bit faster, and therefore maybe squeeze in one more Bastion. In both scenarios, you want, in an optimal case, you want to kill the hydroponic dome one first, because that means that the 8th Bastion is the one on Pipeline Tower, and from there you can go to Extract. You could do this trial on Spaceport, for example, as well, but Dam has the most consistent Bastion spawns. The 4th trial of this week is Search Supply Drops. Now, something went wrong and has changed in this trial. We had this trial before. The trial is called Search Supply Drops, right? Therefore, you would assume that you get the points for calling in the supply drop and then looting the supply drop. And that's how it used to be. You used to get the points for looting the supply drops, which meant that even if another player would have called the drop in, you could still go there, loot the drop itself, and get the points. Well, bad news. This has changed. I'm assuming it's a bug, but we don't know and we have no confirmation. Matter of fact is, you get the points for calling in the supply drop right now. Whether you want to do this solo or in a group, doesn't matter. You want to do this on Buried City. Buried City has a total of 9 supply call stations, and you want to do this either on Night or on Hurricane. I think Hurricane could be a little bit easier because it's not that contested. But as I said, keep in mind, you have to call in the supply drop. It sucks, it is what it is, and we can't change it for now. So You just have to run from one supply call station to another, call it in, and keep going. There's no way around it. We've tried this earlier. We've tried this in a group. You only get points for calling it in. If you're doing this solo, good luck. It feels bad, man. I've reached like, I think, 8,000 points out of 12k. What you want to do if you're doing this solo, bring a lot of zip lines, bring a snap hook and stims, and move as fast as you can. Go to the supply call station. If you see the light, go to it, call it in. You want to pay attention because sometimes you can call it in twice. There are a couple of supply stations that I don't know if it's intentional or bugged, but sometimes you can call it in twice. This supply station over here right now is bugged and you cannot use it. The light is on. You can go there, but you cannot interact with it. And Alt F4ing and reconnecting to the game does not fix it. So this one's bugged. If you see that light, ignore it for now. Doesn't work. If you're playing in a group, you want to make sure to split up immediately so you can cover as many stations as possible as fast as possible. But the strategy is the same. You want zip lines to traverse faster. You want a snap hook for traversal, and you want stims. Once you spawn in, check where your last extract is, and then just rotate accordingly. Like, let's say you spawn here and this is your last extract. You just want to rotate like this. But as I said, in a group, you wanna split up immediately, and each one of you should run to a different supply call station to get it as fast as possible. The last trial of this week is Damage Comets. Now, this is a new one. We haven't had that trial before, so it's all a little bit speculation. But as for now, we're thinking that Spaceport, probably EMS, is the best. As soon as I have more information, I will put it in the pinned comment down below. As a solo player, you want to bring at least like 3 to 4 stacks of ziplines probably, just because you have to traverse a big portion of the map. If you're playing this in a group, you can split up a little bit. Let's take a look at the map. All right, so I will probably set myself up around the launch tower and set up a couple of zipline coasters. Now, I'll bring a Jupiter probably for it, or a hole cracker. I'm not sure yet, but I'm thinking Jupiter just because the Jupiter has a longer range. Once again, as I said, I would probably set up a couple of zipline coasters, like one towards the Barren Husk, one towards this extract. This one is a hurricane spawn, so this one won't be here probably. So I'd say around 12 ziplines in total. Other than that, you want a snap hook, obviously. You want some stims. As I said, a Jupiter. If you bring a Jupiter, you need 5 stacks of energy ammo per Jupiter. After 5 stacks of ammo, it will break. I will run this with a survivor augment and probably a medium shield, just because most of the traversal will be done by zipline. Other than that, just probably a photoelectric cloak to get rid of the Rocketeers or Leapers or whatever. If you're doing this in a group, I would probably split up something like that. One guy here to cover this general area, one guy probably on the launch tower to cover this general area, and the third one probably on here to cover this general area. This is how I would split in a trio. Loadout wise, it's probably the same, right? A survivor augment, so you can survive if you go down, with a medium shield, a Jupiter or hole cracker, photoelectric cloak to avoid Rocketeers and like Bastions, Bombardiers, whatever. Now, once again, it's the first time we have this trial, so this is all a little bit of a speculation. I will update the pinned comment if I have more information. Other than that, if this video was helpful, please, once again, consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you topside. Peace. Thank you very much.